Chapter 21. Half Moon City's Grand Competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 21. Half Moon City's Grand Competition, WH. Nascent Soul. Hiss, Guo Tiancheng sucked in a breath of cold air, his mind buzzing. The other senior members of the Guo family were no less shocked. Nascent Soul. More than half of the people present hadn't personally seen a nascent soul expert. Even some of the Guo family's elders were no exception. A nascent soul expert was an existence that could establish a sect. Any one of them was a giant in the Jinan province. The Witherwood Gate was strong right. However, even the Witherwood Gate only had one nascent soul expert. When they learned that Xian Yi was the elder of the Sword Profound sect, the Guo family members had already overestimated Xian Yi as much as they could. However, they didn't want to, but they still ended up underestimating him. Nascent Soul was an absolute expert in the entire Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Day after day passed. The days of the Half Moon City Grand Competition were getting closer and closer. Within Half Moon City, everything was calm. Wang Fei of the Wang clan hadn't returned, so the news that Guo Yi had become a disciple of the Profound Sword sect and had even become a disciple of the Profound Sword sect's elder hadn't spread in Half Moon City. On this day, in Xian Yi's courtyard. Master. I broke through. Guo Yi slowly opened her beautiful eyes. Guo Yi had already been stuck in the 4th level of qi condensation for a while. Raising her head to look at Xian Yi, she noticed that there was not much joy on Xian Yi's face. Guo Yi's heart trembled slightly as he carefully asked, Master. I've disappointed you. Over the past few days, Xian Yi had spent almost all of his strength to help her increase her cultivation base. However, after so many days, she had only broken through a single dot stage. This made Guo Yi feel too ashamed to face Xian Yi. No, how could that be? Although your cultivation has not increased rapidly in the past few days, your progress in other areas has exceeded my expectations. Xian Yi was not comforting Guo Yi. In the past few days, although Guo Yi's increase in cultivation was limited, her increase in martial cultivation was enough to be described as terrifying. It could be said that although Guo Yi's cultivation had only increased by a small level in the past few days, her strength had increased by several times. Originally, Guo Yi's strength was merely at the qi condensation stage. But now, Guo Yi, who was at the 5th level of qi condensation, had the strength to fight someone who was at the 1st level of the qi foundation realm. Let's go. The Half Moon City Grand Competition should be about to begin. Today was the day of the Half Moon City Grand Competition. Earlier, the second elder of the Guo family had already informed Xian Yi. The Half Moon City Grand Competition was a great event in Half Moon City. It was held once a year. Although it was called the Half Moon City Grand Competition, it was merely a battle between the younger generation of the 3 great clans of Half Moon City. In recent years, because of Guo Lan's rise, the Guo family had already won the title in Half Moon City for 2 consecutive years. By the time Xian Yi and Guo Yi arrived at the arena in the middle of Half Moon City, this place was already filled with people. In the past, the Half Moon City competition was not as lively. The reason why it had received so much attention this year was obvious. The news that Duanli had joined the Witherwood Gate and had even become a disciple of a Witherwood Gate elder had long spread throughout Half Moon City. It could be said that the majority of the people present were not focused on this grand competition, but the aftermath of it. It was extremely likely that after today, only 2 of the 3 great clans would remain in Half Moon City. Alas, the Guo family that was originally about to reach its peak will probably cease to exist after today. In the arena, the people of the 3 great clans had already arrived. The gazes of the people below were all focused on the Duan family's camp. To be precise, they were focused on a black-robed elder sitting beside the Duan family's head. This old man was Duan Li's master, an elder of the Witherwood Gate, an expert at the peak of the 8th level of the soul condensation realm. Too many people in Half Moon City, a peak 8th level soul condensation realm expert was already the strongest person they had ever seen in their entire lives. After all, the Wang family's patriarch, who was known as the strongest expert in Half Moon City, was only at the early 6th level of the soul condensation realm. This is Duanli's master. The head of the Wang clan looked at the black-robed old man muttering to himself. The black-robed elder narrowed his eyes. Even though he didn't reveal his aura, the Wang family's patriarch could still sense a terrifying pressure from his body. The 6th level and the 8th level of the soul condensation realm seemed to be only 2 levels away, but the difference between them was far greater than it seemed. In front of this black-robed old man, the 6th level soul condensation realm Wang clan's patriarch was probably unable to make a single move. When one reached the late soul condensation realm, the gap between each of them was enormous. The rules of the Half Moon City Grand Competition were very simple. There were 5 people from each of the 3 great clans. Whoever could stand in the end on the stage would be the victor. In last year's competition, Guilan swept through Wang and Duan families, including Wang Fei and Duanli, and won the title of the #1 genius in Half Moon City for 2 consecutive years. This year's great competition is quite interesting. Duanli becoming a disciple of the Witherwood Gate, his strength is not the same as before. Whether Guilan can defeat him and complete 3 consecutive wins is hard to say. Speaking of the current Guilan, 2 or 3 successive titles have long lost their meaning. No matter if he can defeat Duanli today, his Gui family will not be able to escape the fate of being destroyed. Duanli is on stage. Just as everyone was discussing amongst themselves, a cry of alarm resounded throughout the entire arena. When everyone looked over, they saw Duanli, who was supposed to be the leader of the group, jump onto the stage. This scene exceeded everyone's expectations. As the leader of the Duan family's younger generation, Duanli, who should have dominated the arena, was the first to stand on the stage. "Come, I'll sweep through you all by myself." Boom! Duanli's words were like a thunderclap that completely exploded around the arena. Mad. It was simply insane. One person wanted to sweep through all of them. Where did Duanli get the courage? One had to know that he could not even handle 3 moves from Guilan in the previous sessions. Now, it had only been a short year, yet he dared to threaten to sweep through all the remaining competitors, including Guilan. At this moment, some of the younger generations of the Gui clan and Wang clan were starting to stir. The younger generation was extremely young, so how could they accept such arrogance? Immediately, a person from the Wang family jumped out. It's Wang Yan. Wang Yan, the #2 figure of the Wang family's younger generation, wasn't much weaker than Wang Fei's. Before Wang Fei had returned from the Profound Sword sect, he was undoubtedly the most powerful person in the Wang family's younger generation. Furthermore, Wang Yan had exchanged blows with Duanli half a year ago. Duanli didn't achieve the upper hand during that battle, thus both sides drew. "Duanli, you're too arrogant. I want to see if you have the qualifications to be this arrogant." As soon as Wang Yan finished speaking, his feet suddenly stomped on the ground, and his entire body transformed into a sharp sword that rushed towards Duanli. "You overestimate yourself." A wisp of disdain flashed through his eyes as he glanced at the incoming Wang Yan. Duanli snorted coldly and threw out a punch as well. Bang! The fists collided in an instant, releasing a muffled sound. They only heard a miserable cry, and blood splashed everywhere. Wang Yan's figure flew out, drawing a long trail of blood on the ground. After a miserable scream, Wang Yan, who had been sent flying out of the battle stage, fainted. Instant defeat. Everyone who witnessed this scene felt their hairs stand on end. So strong. What kind of strength is this? This scene was truly a bit shocking to the surrounding people. After all, half a year ago, the 2 of them were on par. However, after just half a year, Duanli defeated Wang Yan, who was at the 5th level of Qi condensation, with one move. This scene could be said to have stunned countless people. Wang Yan wasn't a weakling. He was at the 5th level of Qi condensation. Even Gue Lan didn't dare to say that he could easily defeat him. However, Duan Li's attack crushed him. What kind of strength was this? It was likely that it would be difficult to reach the 6th level of Qi condensation, right? In just half a year, Duan Li's strength had reached this level. The Witherwood Gate is truly terrifying. Duan Li's strength was terrifying, but the Witherwood Gate behind him was even more terrifying. The reason why Duan Li's strength had been able to increase so much in half a year was because of his relationship with the Witherwood Sect's elder, his master, and the Witherwood Sect. At that moment, many of the spectators outside the arena all turned their gazes to the Gue family, Gue Lan. Some of these gazes were filled with pity, while others were filled with schadenfreude. What they felt pity for was that Gue Lan was simply unlucky. If it wasn't for Duan Li being taken as a disciple by the Witherwood Gate's elder, Duan Li would probably never be a match for Gue Lan. But the heavens seemed to be toying with him. Fate was just playing tricks on others. Chapter 22. Teach my disciple a lesson. Are you worthy? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 22. Teach my disciple a lesson. Are you worthy? In the arena, Duan Li's gaze also locked onto the Gue family's camp, Gue Lan, with a gaze filled with ridicule. What? You want me to invite you up? As soon as his voice sounded, Gue Lan's expression became even more difficult to see. If it had been half a year ago, he would have gone on stage to teach Duan Li a lesson. But now, he hesitated. Although he was unwilling to admit it, he had to admit that Duan Li, who was able to defeat Wang Yan in one move, was far from being an opponent he could win against. To defeat you. Why would cousin Gue Lan need to take action? A beautiful figure slowly landed in the arena. It was Gue Yi. One strike to defeat you is all it would take. Whoosh! Everyone was in an uproar. Originally, Gue Yi had already exceeded the expectations of countless people. However, they did not expect that after she stepped onto the stage, Gue Yi would dare to say, "One strike to defeat you." Such absurd words. Was she crazy? Didn't she see that even the second person in the Wang family's younger generation, Wang Yan, was defeated by Duan Li's single attack? Didn't she see that even Gue Lan, who was known as the #1 genius in Half Moon City and the #1 person in the younger generation of the Gue family, didn't dare to go on stage? Could it be that Gue Yi believed that her strength was even stronger than Gue Lan? Everyone was no stranger to Gue Yi, the young miss of the Gue family. She, who was known as the #1 beauty in Half Moon City, was no less famous than Gue Lan. But the reason why she was famous was not because of her strength, but because of her beauty. In terms of strength, she wasn't even in the top 10 amongst the younger generation of Half Moon City. How could she have the courage to enter the battle stage? How could she have the courage to say to Duan Li, "One strike to defeat you"? Even Duan Li was stunned when Gue Yi said those words. "One sword strike to defeat me." Duan Li seemed to have heard the funniest joke he had ever heard in his life. However, before he could make any sarcasm, Gue Yi, who was on the other side of the stage, moved. Buzz! She raised her hand and a silver sword flew out. The silver sword wasn't fast. However, the smile on Duan Li's face gradually disappeared. At first, Duan Li didn't care about this sword strike, but very quickly, when he discovered that he was locked in place by this sword strike, he was utterly shocked. Move! Quick! Duan Li kept roaring in his heart, but his body was still moving slowly. No matter what, he couldn't avoid this strike. At this moment, Duan Li finally understood. Gue Yi's words earlier were not just big words. She had the strength to defeat him with a single strike. What kind of strength was this? It wasn't that Duanli hadn't fought someone stronger than him before, but even if it was the 7th level of Qi condensation or even the 8th level of Qi condensation, they wouldn't be able to defeat him in one strike, right? Duanli was no longer able to think about why Guei had become so powerful. Right now, he only wanted to dodge this sword with all his might. This strike was a fatal one. This strike would not just defeat him, but also kill him. This is the embryonic form of sword intent. As an elder of the Witherwood Gate, the black-robed old man was naturally not comparable to those of this little half-moon city. With a single glance, he recognized that the terrifying power contained within Guei's sword was the embryonic form of sword intent. This sword strike could not only easily kill Duanli but it could also kill a few peak 9th level Qi condensation experts from the Witherwood Gate. Impudent. Just as Duanli thought that he would die, a terrifying sound wave erupted from the direction of the Duan family's camp. The silver sword, which was originally as powerful as a bamboo, was blasted flying under this vast sound wave. The initial form of sword intent was strong, but no matter how strong it was still no stronger than a peak 8th level soul condensation realm expert. The gap between the 5th level of Qi condensation and the peak of the 8th level of the soul condensation realm wasn't something the embryonic form of sword intent could make up for. At such a young age, you are so ruthless. In the future, you will still be able to do more bad things. Today, this old man will teach you a lesson in place of your master. The black-robed old man instantly appeared in the sky above the arena and struck out at Guei. The vast palm power made others suspect that this palm strike was not just to teach Guei a lesson but to kill her. The sudden change had exceeded the expectations of countless people. Before they could understand what was going on, they saw the black-robed old man take action in fury. Buzz. However, just as everyone thought that Guei was about to perish, an even more boundless oppressive might suddenly descended. The terrifying palm power that the black-robed old man unleashed instantly vanished without a trace under this vast pressure. Guei let out a sigh of relief. She knew that her master had attacked. Teach my disciple a lesson. Are you worthy? Xian Yi's voice exploded around the huge arena. This pressure. What's going on? Some of the weaker people could not help but want to kneel and worship. What kind of pressure was this? Under the oppressive might, even their breathing became somewhat difficult. If it was a comparison, the pressure of the black-robed elder would only be a lake at most. Meanwhile, the terrifying might that Xian's body emitted was as vast as the Yellow River. The two were completely different. On the battle stage, the black-robed old man's eyes widened. He looked at the white-robed young man beside Guei in disbelief. This pressure. He had only been able to sense such pressure from Witherwood Gate Master. What kind of person was the Witherwood Gate Master? That was a nascent soul expert. Doesn't this mean that this white-robed youth? Nascent soul. The black-robed old man felt his scalp go numb. He had provoked a nascent soul expert. No, it was not him, but Duanli. The black-robed elder shot a glance at Duanli. The black-robed old man wished he could kill him with a single palm strike. That Guei family had the support of a nascent soul realm expert, why didn't you say it earlier? After all, they had the backing of a nascent soul realm expert. Even with all of his guts, he didn't dare come and cause trouble for the Guei family. Senior, this is a misunderstanding. Xian Yi shook his head and punched out. Xian Yi had never been a soft-hearted person, especially when dealing with enemies. Misunderstanding. There was no misunderstanding. If it wasn't for him, then today, the Guei family would be destroyed. No. Senior, you cannot kill me. I am an elder of the Witherwood Gate and my sect master is also a nascent soul expert. Bang. Before he could finish speaking, the black-robed old man turned into bloody mist. With Xian Yi's current strength, killing a peak 8th level soul condensation realm expert was too easy. O.org. Now that he was at nascent soul, no one could block his attack. Xian Yi of the Profound Sword Sect killed you. If you refuse to accept it, you can have your Witherwood Gate Master come to look for me. Xian Yi's voice resounded throughout Half Moon City. It was only at this moment that the crowd knew Xian Yi's identity and name. Profound Sword Sect. The people present were no strangers to the Profound Sword Sect. This was a sect that was even more powerful than the Witherwood Gate. Chapter 23. After today, there is no Duan family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 23. After today, there is no Duan family. After today, there is no Duan family in Half Moon City. Xian Yi's words directly sentenced the Duan family to death. To many people around the arena, what had happened just now was simply too dreamy. It was like a dream. From Guiyi's sword intent almost cutting Duanli to the end of the black-robed elder, to Xian Yi's powerful attack, the entire process was only a few short breaths of time. When they regained their senses, the black-robed elder who had previously appeared invincible to them, the Witherwood Gate Elder, had transformed into a bloody mist that filled the sky and disappeared forever. Many people felt their scalps go numb. That was an existence at the peak of the 8th level of the soul condensation realm. He died. Everyone looked at Xian Yi with deep reverence. Everyone knew that the mysterious expert who had forcefully killed Duanli was not only an elder of the Profound Sword Sect but also the daughter of the Gui family's patriarch, Guiyi's master. Guiyi had the backing of a nascent soul expert. The Gui family was about to rise. This was the thoughts of everyone. With a nascent soul expert backing them, not to mention Half Moon City, even in the entire Jinan province, few people dared to provoke the Gui family. Let's go too. There's no need for us here. The Liao family's father and daughter left. There was nothing left for them here. Liao Tianxiong and Liao Xiaoye had already arrived. When Duanli's master had taken action earlier, Liao Tianxiong had planned to speak up. However, before he could stand up, Xian Yi had already taken a step ahead of him and killed the black-robed old man, Duanli's master. Profound Sword Sect. Xian Yi. Liao Xiaoye's beautiful eyes eagerly looked at Xian Yi. When she was in the dazzling province, she had seen countless young talents, but none of them could compare to Xian Yi. The next day, the Duan clan in Half Moon City was destroyed by the Gui clan. From now on, Half Moon City no longer had 3 great clans, only 2 great clans are the Wang family and the Gui clan. Furthermore, from now on, Half Moon City would respect the Gui family. The Purple Moon secret realm hadn't opened yet, so Xian Yi wasn't in a rush to head there. Instead, he stayed in the Gui family. While asking around about the ice spirit grass, he was also continuously teaching Guiyi various martial arts techniques to help her increase her strength as much as possible before the upcoming Purple Moon secret realm opened. Originally, Xian Yi didn't intend to let Guiyi follow him to the Purple Moon secret realm. However, after Guiyi understood the initial form of sword intent, Xian Yi changed his mind. The 5th level of Qi condensation was a bit low, but Guiyi, who had comprehended the embryonic form of sword intent, was at the 1st level of the Qi foundation realm in strength. Such strength was enough to enter the Purple Moon secret realm. As for the Purple Moon secret realm's opening, it was getting closer and closer. Half Moon City, which had just slowed down for a few days, began to become lively again. It wasn't just Half Moon City. The entire Jinan province began to become lively. The influx of experts from various powers into Jinan province also caused chaos in Jinan province. Some foreign experts were unbridled in Jinan province. It was fine for a power that had experts overseeing it, but those places that didn't have experts overseeing it were already in chaos. That was also the reason why the major powers in the Jinan province had left behind some experts to guard the sect. It was to guard against the experts of these foreign powers. The Jinan province was ranked the lowest among the 108 provinces in the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. As a result, many of the powers and experts from other provinces viewed themselves very highly, completely ignoring the powers in the Jiannan province. From their point of view, the Jiannan province was a small, weak place. In this place, there was still a need for rules. There was no place to stay. Just forcefully seize it. In the current times, chaos had occurred quite frequently in Jiannan province. On this day, Xian Yi walked out of seclusion and sensed the chaos in Half Moon City. A slight frown appeared on his face before a voice rang out throughout Half Moon City. I don't care where you come from. From today onwards, you can't cause any disturbances in Half Moon City. Fighting is prohibited in Half Moon City. Those who disobey will be killed. A vast voice was heard by everyone in Half Moon City under the support of spiritual power. At this moment, regardless of whether it was the locals or the outsiders from Half Moon City, they all raised their heads to look in the direction of the Gui family. At this moment, a few outsiders who were originally unrestrained revealed grave expressions. They thought it was just a small border city, but they didn't expect a nascent soul expert to live here. Moreover, this nascent soul expert didn't seem to have a good temper. His words weren't to warn them, but to threaten them. These words instantly caused Half Moon City to regain its former stability. The head of the Wang clan and the head of the Gui clan, Gui Tiancheng, sighed endlessly. As the two great clans in Half Moon City, they had tried their best to maintain the peace of Half Moon City in the past few days. However, many outsiders were stronger than them. How could those people listen to the advice of the Wang clan chief and Gui Tiancheng? Their advice did not have much effect. Right now, Xian Yi's words had caused the outsiders in Half Moon City to completely restrain themselves. That was strength. No matter what you say, others might not take it to heart. However, no one dared not forget the words of an expert. Chapter 24. If he doesn't die, I will destroy your entire sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 24. If he doesn't die, I will destroy your entire sect. However, this scene did not last long. As more and more outsiders arrived, those who heard Xian Yi's warning naturally restrained themselves. However, many outsiders who had just arrived hadn't heard Xian Yi's warning. They had only heard that an expert in Half Moon City had set rules to prohibit fighting in the city. After some people learned of the expert who had spoken those words, they quickly withdrew. However, some people heard of this prohibition. However, they did not take it to heart. Perhaps in their eyes, what kind of expert could exist in a small, remote place? What kind of experts had these commoners seen? They might not be in the Qi Foundation realm, but they could also be called experts. Thus, this group of people didn't care about what was going on. They didn't have the slightest intention of restraining themselves. As time went on, these unscrupulous people didn't receive any punishment. The words and rules that the nascent soul expert had previously released were just empty. Gradually, those who had restrained themselves a lot due to Xian's warnings began to recover their true nature when they saw that those who had ignored the warnings were still alive and well. Right now, no cat or dog is worthy of being called an expert. Just a single one would scare you all to such a state, trash. What bullsh** T warning ban? I've violated it. Who can defeat me? Then what about those who set the rules? Get out. Yours truly was standing right here. Do you dare to kill me? Ha ha ha. For a few days, the expert who spoke didn't appear, causing those who were originally arrogant and despotic to become even crazier. Xian Yi slowly opened his eyes. He had seen everything that had happened in Half Moon City these past few days. It's about time. Master, what's about time? Gu Yi, who was sitting cross-legged cultivating beside him, asked with some confusion. It's about time to send these people on their way. A sinister smile appeared on Xian Yi's face as he was muttering to himself. As soon as he finished speaking, he transformed into a streak of light that appeared above Half Moon City. Buzz! Immediately afterward, an incomparably vast pressure descended. Boom! The sudden pressure caused the hearts of countless people to tremble. Not good. It was the nascent soul expert who had warned us earlier. Senior brother, run. Somewhere in Half Moon City, a young man roared at his senior brother. He was the first group of people to arrive at Half Moon City. He also heard Xian Yi's warning a few days ago. Thus, during these past few days, he had always kept a low profile, never doing anything that violated the ban. However, his senior brother was different. He arrived at Half Moon City a bit later than him and didn't feel the terrifying power of that nascent soul expert. No matter how much advice he gave, his senior brother didn't take it to heart. Bang! However, just as his voice fell, a shocking scene immediately caused him to be stunned. Br. Brother, a streak of sword light shot out from the sky. His senior brother's body split into two and fell backward. Even as he died, he didn't even have time to close his eyes. He could not rest in peace. In the sky, Xian Yi continuously waved the longsword in his hand. Every swing of his sword would take away one person's life. These people, without exception, were all those who had ignored his warning these past few days. Senior. I was wrong. Don't kill me. Spare my life. I don't deserve to die. The blood dyed Half Moon City red. Looking at the people around them who were constantly being killed by the sword light, those who were originally incomparably arrogant and even provoked Xian Yi began to panic. However, no matter how much they begged for mercy, regarding the sword light that was coming from the sky above them, there was still no hesitation or pause. Only now did everyone understand. The reason why that senior hadn't made a move a few days ago wasn't that he didn't dare. Instead, he planned to find time to send them on their way. In the sky above Half Moon City, Xian Yi suddenly stopped and looked at an inn in the city. There stood a pale-faced young man and a purple-robed elder at the peak of the 7th level soul condensation realm. The reason why Xian Yi stopped was because of this old man. Earlier, he had attacked the young man who had turned pale from fright. However, the old man blocked Xian Yi's attack. The sword light that Xian Yi had unleashed earlier wasn't very powerful. As a peak 7th level soul condensation realm expert, this violet-robed old man could block his sword strike if he exerted all his might. With a flash, Xian Yi arrived before the two of them. He looked at the purple-clothed old man and said, "You dare to block my sword?" The purple-clothed old man hadn't violated Xian Yi's order in the past few days. The person who had violated it was the pale-faced youth behind him. "Senior, forgive me. I'm an elder of the Yenhua sect in the province of Lin Tian. This is my young master." Earlier, the young master had violated the rules set by the senior. It was his fault. Here, I represent the Yenhua sect and apologize to senior. Longer, kowtow towards senior, ask senior to spare your life. The young man who was scared silly hurriedly knelt. His voice trembled as he said, "Senior, stop." However, as soon as the word "senior" was spoken, Xian Yi interrupted them. "I don't need you to apologize. I only want to ask you one question. Are you determined to protect him?" From beginning to end, Xian Yi didn't even look at the young man. His gaze remained on the purple-clothed old man. "You can protect him. But if he doesn't die today, I'll destroy your Yenhua sect. Do you believe me?" Xian Yi's voice was slightly cold. He knew that the sect master was a first-realm peak nascent soul expert. But so what? A mere Yenhua sect. Xian Yi's words caused the purple-clothed old man's face to turn green and pale. After he finished speaking, Xian Yi turned around and left. He didn't make a move to kill that young man anymore. The purple-clothed old man's face was extremely gloomy. He looked at Xian Yi's back as he slowly left. His heart was filled with ruthlessness as he slapped out with his palm. "Elder Lu. You. The pale-faced youth looked at him in disbelief. Young master, this old one has advised you to keep a low profile when you're outside. But you won't listen. If you don't die, then the Yenua sect will die. I have no choice. Bang! A palm struck the young man's forehead, directly shattering his mind and body. Indeed, Elder Lu had no choice. The strength Xian Yi displayed was terrifyingly powerful, much more terrifying than the sovereign of his sect. He didn't think that an existence at the level of Xian Yi would casually say empty words. Elder Lu's heart was filled with coldness as he watched Xian Yi's back. This person was definitely ruthless. He had been able to personally come out to let the young master experience, but he turned around and left. The reason was that he forced himself to kill the young master. The next day, the entire Half-Moon City was a bit deserted. After yesterday's purgatory-like massacre, Half-Moon City became unprecedentedly quiet. The outsiders didn't even dare to speak too loudly, let alone cause trouble. From this, it could be seen how much psychological shadow had been cast upon them by yesterday's events. Those who were alive were extremely fortunate that they hadn't done anything out of the ordinary. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to see the sun today. Looking at the rising sun, everyone felt for the first time that the sun was so beautiful, so beautiful. Living. That's great. Chapter 25. Guide Guiyi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. During a day Xian Yi was in closed-door cultivation, a group of honored guests arrived at the Gui family. Gui Xinmeng's master, one of her master's friends, and the 3 disciples of her master's friend. Earlier, Gui Xinmeng's master had separated from Gui Xinmeng and the others after arriving in the Tianfeng kingdom. She had gone to find her good friend. My name is Fan Yin, the master of Gui Xinmeng. In the main hall, a beautiful woman in a white dress spoke slowly. Her voice carried a wisp of coldness that kept people away. As for her, she was Gui Xinmeng's master, the peak 8th step soul condensation expert who had forcibly abducted Gui Xinmeng 3 years ago. As far as Fan Yin was concerned, she did not care about the Gui family. It was just a power family in a small border city. If it wasn't for Gui Xinmeng, she wouldn't have appeared here. This junior, Gui Tiancheng, greets senior Fan Yin. Gui Tiancheng smiled and clasped his fist towards Fan Yin, seemingly very enthusiastic. Fan Yin nodded and remained unmoved. Her expression was as cold as ever. This is my good friend Kong Miao. These 3 are her disciples. Standing next to Fan Yin was also a woman in her 30s. Her appearance was slightly ordinary, and she looked slightly younger than Fan Yin. Behind Kong Miao stood 2 men and 1 woman. They were all Kong Miao's disciples, and their expressions carried a bit of arrogance. After some understanding, Gui Tiancheng finally found out that Fan Yin's good friend was rather extraordinary. Although she seemed younger than Fan Yin, she was stronger than Fan Yin. Moreover, it was more than a bit stronger. She was a true nascent soul expert. She had just broken through half a year ago. She was an expert of the same level as Yi's master. No wonder her disciples were arrogant. Having a nascent soul master was indeed enough for them to be so. Gui Tiancheng didn't know Xian Yi's actual strength. He only knew that he was at nascent soul and that Kong Miao was also at nascent soul. In Gui Tiancheng's heart, he had already placed Kong Miao in the same position as Xian. However, he didn't know if she was at the nascent soul realm, but Xian Yi and Kong Miao were not at the same level. Kong Miao was at most only an early nascent soul cultivator who had just broken through. Her cultivation base had yet to fully stabilize. As for Xian Yi, he was at the 3rd level of nascent soul, and he was only at that realm in terms of cultivation. In terms of strength, Xian Yi was comparable to a peak 5th level nascent soul expert. The difference between the 2 was like a canal. In next to no time, Fan Yin, Kong Miao, and the others settled down in the Gui clan. They planned to leave for the Purple Moon secret realm in 2 days. Within the Gue family's monastery, a group of Gue family juniors gathered together. The 3 outstanding disciples were also among them. With a nascent soul master and their innate talent, the 3 of them were quickly surrounded by the disciples of the Gue family. As for the 3 of them, they enjoyed the feeling of attracting attention. "Little sister Yi, I see that you have a sword on your back. It seems that you are also a sword cultivator." Among the 3, a young man named Peng Zhu stared at Gue Yi with bright eyes. This person was Kong Miao's disciple. Although he only became Kong Miao's disciple recently and wasn't the strongest among the 3, his talent was the most terrifying among the 3. From the very first moment he saw Gue Yi, he fell for Gue Yi's peerlessly beautiful face. His heart was filled with a desire to pursue her. During the conversation, he constantly sought out topics to chat with Gue Yi. However, Gue Yi appeared to be extremely cold. Faced with his question and so on, she only casually replied about it. Everyone could tell that Gue Yi was not interested in him at all. However, he did not give up. A woman of this level would naturally not be easy to deal with. In Peng Zhu's point of view, Gue Yi was not interested in him because she did not know how outstanding he was. After she understood his excellence, she would naturally be attracted to him. Faced with Peng Zhu's question, Gue Yi glanced at him. She nodded lightly and said nothing. What a coincidence. "Senior sister, I'm also a famous sword cultivator. Why don't you and I spar? Let me see what's wrong with your sword techniques, and give you some pointers." As soon as these words were spoken, other than the 3 of them, all of them were stunned. Then, they looked at Peng Zhu with a strange expression. Guide Gue Yi. The disciples of the Gue family couldn't help but shiver when they recalled the stunning sword that Gue Yi had executed on the arena. Later on, there was a clan elder's assessment that Sister Yi's sword strike could kill anyone below the Qi Foundation realm. Even an ordinary second-level Qi Foundation realm expert might not be a match for Sister Yi. Peng Zhufei said that his talent was exceptional. He had reached the 7th level of Qi condensation at a young age. He was much stronger than Duanli back then, but Sister Yi was a genius with the strength of the Qi Foundation realm. Not to mention him, even his 2 first Qi Foundation realm senior disciples might not be a match for Sister Yi, right? It was understandable that this person wanted to boast, but did he find the wrong person? Chapter 26. Someone stealing his disciple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 26. Someone stealing his disciple. After a moment of shock, Gue Yi stared at him with her beautiful eyes, her voice cold. You are no match for me. The disciples of the Gue family didn't feel that there was anything wrong with Gue Yi's words. However, Peng Zhu and the others were different. They did not know the strength of Gue Yi. In their eyes, apart from her appearance, there was nothing too outstanding about her. Her talent was not bad, and she had reached the early 5th stage of Qi condensation at a young age. However, it was merely not bad. It could not be compared to these geniuses. The 3 of them, including Peng Zhu, frowned slightly. They couldn't make sense of it. How could a young girl who looked rather calm and quiet say such outrageous and unrestrained words? The 3 of them did not understand where Gue Yi dared to say those words. An early 5th stage Qi condensation cultivator had stated that a peak 7th stage Qi condensation cultivator was no match for her. Not to mention that Peng Zhu wasn't an ordinary peak Qi condensation cultivator. As senior brother and senior sister, they knew his strength well. That was enough to fight a mid-stage Qi condensation cultivator or even a peak Qi condensation cultivator. Junior sister Yi is joking. Who is joking with you? Gue Yi stood up and planned to leave. She didn't want to stay with this group of people who were extremely arrogant and had a sense of superiority for another second. She pulled out the silver sword from behind her and slashed it towards the sky. Buzz. Terrifying sword energy shot into the sky. Am I joking with you? Guei prepared to leave without turning her head. The 3 Kong Miao disciples left behind were stunned. This was especially true for Peng Zhu. His face was filled with disbelief. That sword. How could that sword come from Guei? Under that strike, Peng Zhu felt that he was extremely small. If that sword was not aimed at the sky, but himself. Peng Zhu couldn't help but shiver. Even Peng's senior brothers and sisters were greatly frightened by this strike. It was because even they, Qi Foundation realm experts, felt a dense sense of danger in that sword strike. This meant that the sword that Guei slashed out was enough to threaten them. Genius. A monster that was countless times more terrifying than them, a true monster. At the 5th level of Qi condensation, she slashed out sword energy that was sufficient to threaten a Qi Foundation realm expert, and it surpassed the 5th level of combat strength. Not to mention being in Jinan province, she was the top genius in the entire Heavenly Wind Kingdom. It shouldn't be. Impossible. It was just power in a small border city. How could such a monstrous genius appear? This is the embryonic form of sword intent. Kong Miao, who was chatting with the patriarch of the Gui family, Gui Tiancheng, in the manor. When she saw this sword strike, she immediately became ecstatic. With a movement of her body, she was in front of Guei. It's the embryonic form of sword intent. Genius. An absolute genius. Who would have thought that I would meet such a genius in this tiny half-moon city? Ha 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 ha, little girl, let me ask you this. You are willing to take me as your master. I'm willing to accept you as my personal disciple. With your talent, you shouldn't be staying in this tiny half-moon city. Your stage is in the Heavenly Wind Kingdom and the entire Azure Province. Kong Miao's voice was very excited. Personal disciple, a wisp of envy couldn't help but flash in their eyes. Even though they were disciples, they were not personal disciples. Accepting Guei as a personal disciple meant that Kong Miao would use all of her life's learning to teach her everything. The life teachings of a nascent soul expert. Of course, admiration was the result of envy. With Guei's talent, any nascent soul expert would think of all sorts of ways to accept her as a disciple. Guei didn't hesitate at all. She directly shook her head and refused. Sorry, senior, this junior already has a master. Forgive me for not being able to take senior as my master. So what if you have a master? What rules state that you can only have one master in your entire life? Besides, what's wrong? Kong Miao wanted to say something else, but Xian Yi had already appeared in the monastery. He had just entered seclusion when he saw someone stealing his disciple. This was absurd. You. Kong Miao raised her head and looked at Xian Yi. She frowned and said, You are Guei's master. What? You want to steal my disciple? Xian Yi smiled, and his smile carried a wisp of coldness. After that, a vast sword intent instantly enveloped the entire Gui clan mansion. Buzz. An invisible sword shadow stood in the air, pointing straight at Kong Miao. The terrifying sword pressure was like substance. Bang! Before Kong Miao could react, her body knelt on the ground because she couldn't withstand the terrifying sword pressure. The floor beneath her knees cracked like a spider web. Sword intent. Shock filled her face. At this moment, nothing else could be described as shocking. Sword intent. This person had comprehended the legendary sword intent. That was sword intent. Countless sword cultivators dreamed of comprehending the ultimate intent. According to what she knew, there were a few people in the entire Heavenly Wind Kingdom who had merely comprehended the embryonic form of sword intent, but none of them had truly comprehended it. Other than this person. It wasn't just the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, even in the surrounding kingdoms she had never heard of anyone comprehending sword intent. Kong Miao was also a sword cultivator. It was precisely because of this that she knew how difficult it was to comprehend sword intent. Not to mention sword intent, she had not comprehended even the embryonic form of sword intent. No wonder. No wonder that girl was able to comprehend the embryonic form of sword intent. It turned out that she had a master who had comprehended sword intent. What was laughable was that she was trying to snatch a disciple from a nascent soul sword cultivator. From the aura Xian Yi displayed, it was not difficult to tell that Xian Yi's cultivation was at least at the third level of nascent soul. His true strength would only be even stronger. Even though it was extremely difficult to challenge someone at the higher levels of nascent soul, to a sword cultivator who had comprehended sword intent, even at nascent soul, it was like drinking cold water. The pressure alone caused a nascent soul expert to kneel on the ground. Chapter 27. In front of him, who would dare to be called a genius? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 27. In front of him, who would dare to be called a genius? This scene shocked countless people. Guo Tiancheng's daughter, Guo Xinmeng's master, Fan Yin, and Kong Miao's 3 disciples were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Guo Tiancheng knew that Xian Yi was very powerful. He was a nascent soul expert, but he had always thought that even though Xian Yi was a nascent soul expert, he shouldn't be too strong among nascent soul experts. Because he was too young. However, at this moment, he realized that not only was he wrong, he was also shocked. To be able to force a first-level nascent soul expert to kneel on the ground just by relying on his pressure. What strength was this? Guo Xinmeng's master, Fan Yin, was no less shocked than Guo Tiancheng. There was such a terrifying expert hidden within the Guo family. She had never heard Guo Xinmeng mention it before. Kong Miao's 3 disciples were stunned. In their eyes, their master was extraordinary. She was practically an unmatched existence. However, at this moment she couldn't withstand the other party's oppressive might. With just his oppressive might, their master was unable to stand up. Elder Xian, please show mercy. Senior Kong Miao doesn't have any ill intentions, Guo Tiancheng hurriedly pleaded for mercy. The oppressive might that filled the sky instantly vanished into thin air. Kong Miao felt that the terrifying power that had been pressing down on her like a small mountain had finally disappeared. The clothes on her entire body had been soaked in sweat for a long time ago, and she stood up in a graceful and trembling manner. She heavily breathed in the air while her eyes that looked at Xian Yi carried dense terror and fear. This was the first time she felt inferior since she was born, especially after she broke through to nascent soul. Xian Yi glanced at Kong Miao and ignored her. Xian Yi didn't intend to kill her in the first place but merely taught her a lesson. In the next few days, Kong Miao and the others restrained themselves quite a bit in the Guo family home. The arrogance had also disappeared without a trace. Afterwards, Kong Miao, Fan Yin, and the others learned about Xian Yi's identity from Guo Tiancheng, an elder of the Profound Sword sect. Fan Yin didn't know much about the Sword Profound sect, but as a native of the Jinan province, she couldn't say that she hadn't heard of it at all. There were 5 nascent soul experts within the sect. Coupled with the fact that the sect master, Jian Nantian, was at the peak of the second-tier nascent soul realm, the strength of the Profound Sword sect wasn't the strongest in the entire Jinan province, but it was second to those peak sections. It could be considered to be an extremely powerful force below those peak sections. If she hadn't met Xian Yi before, Kong Miao would have thought the same. However, after encountering Xian Yi, especially after being crushed by Xian Yi's sword intent, Kong Miao realized that the Profound Sword sect was probably far from as simple as she thought. Everyone thought that the most powerful person in the Profound Sword sect was Jian Nantian, the sect master of the Sword Profound sect, a terrifying peak second stage nascent soul sword cultivator. However, she had seen Xian Yi's strength and understood something. The strongest person in the Profound Sword sect was probably not the sect master, Jian Nantian, but Xian Yi, who was currently living in the Guo family. Not only had this elder Xian Yi's cultivation realm reached the third level of the nascent soul realm, but it also had to be known that he was able to ascend into the top 10 of the Jiannan province with just his cultivation realm. In the entire Jiannan province, there were less than 10 nascent soul experts. Every single sect that possessed a third tier nascent soul expert was a top-tier organization in the Jiannan province. And this was not the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was that this elder Xian Yi, who had also comprehended sword intent. This made it even harder to estimate his strength. It was certain that Xian Yi, who had comprehended sword intent, would possess level-crossing combat strength. It was just that she didn't know how many levels he could cross. The profound sword sect is truly terrifying. In fact, this elder Xian Yi's age should be considered of the younger generation, right? He's between 20.5 or 16 years old, at the third level of nascent soul, comprehending sword intent, and of the younger generation, ha. As a nascent soul expert, Kong Miao had seen quite a few heavenly geniuses. Even the top heavenly geniuses of the heavenly wind kingdom, like the third prince who had the supreme spirit physique of the imperial family. However, compared to Xian Yi, these so-called top geniuses, it was better not to compare them. There was no comparison between the two. Xian Yi's strength was even more terrifying than that of many experts from the older generation. If he were to be placed in the younger generation, it would simply be bullying others. Such talent, I'm afraid that even in the entire Azure region, he would be among the best. The deeper she understood Xian Yi, the more Kong Miao felt that this person was terrifying. This was a monster that should not have appeared in the heavenly wind kingdom, but instead, should have appeared in the Azure region's giant sacred lands. On this day, Xian Yi, who had spent some time in the Gui family, finally received the news. The Purple Moon secret realm was about to open today. It wasn't just Xian Yi, practically everyone had received the news. At this moment, countless powers and experts began to frantically gather at the entrance of the Purple Moon secret realm. There's no time to delay. Let's go as well. Xinmeng, are you going? Fan Yin asked Gui Xinmeng. If it had been in the past, Fan Yin wouldn't have asked Gui Xinmeng's opinion. The Purple Moon secret realm was dangerous, but she was her disciple. However, things were different now. The current Gui clan was no longer the Gui clan from before. With Xian Yi present, Fan Yin had no choice but to be careful, afraid of offending him. Of course. Master, why are you asking this? Gui Xian Meng, who was a little innocent, looked at Fan Yin with some confusion. No, nothing, Fan Yin glanced at Xian Yi. When she was ready, Gui Yi's pink lips moved slightly. The enormous scarlet flame sparrow immediately appeared in the air above the Gui family's mansion. A huge shadow enveloped the Gui family, covering the entire sky. Everyone present looked at Gui Yi with envy. A 7th-level soul condensation flying mount, even a nascent soul expert, didn't dare tame it easily. Kong Miao had a mount, but it was only a 2nd-level soul condensation realm, Winter Ho. Gui Tiancheng sighed in his heart. As the patriarch of the Gui family, he could not even compare to his daughter's mount. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. Chapter 28. Heaven's Pride, Third Prince. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 28. Heaven's Pride, Third Prince. The Purple Moon secret realm was located in Southern Province, not far from Half Moon City. Also, the Scarlet Flame Sparrow's speed was extremely fast. In just over half an hour, it had arrived at the Purple Moon Forest. The Purple Moon secret realm was within the Purple Moon Forest. The Purple Moon Forest was very large, but strangely, there were no demonic beasts in it. Thus, there was naturally no danger in the Purple Moon Forest. The other thing was that there was only one entrance to the Purple Moon secret realm that was discovered thousands of years ago when Ziyu died. However, as time passed, the number of entrances to the Purple Moon secret realm began to increase. Moreover, it was located within the Purple Moon Forest. This could be considered a strange matter. There were a total of 136 entrances to the Purple Moon secret realm, covering the entire Purple Moon Forest. Near each entrance, a large number of powerful experts from all over the Heavenly Wind Kingdom were gathered, waiting for the moment the entrance of the secret realm opened. Xian Yi didn't go looking for Jian Nantian and the others, because there was no need. In any case, after entering the Purple Moon secret realm, every participant would be randomly transported to a certain place within the secret territory. Even if they gathered together in front of the entrance and entered it at the same time, they would still be separated. Therefore, there was no need to meet up with the Profound Sword sect and the others. At one of the 136 entrances, Xian Yi and the others found a random place before quietly waiting for the secret realm to open. By the time Xian Yi's group arrived, many cultivators from all over the Heavenly Wind Kingdom had gathered here. Gui Tiancheng's gaze swept over the surroundings, and he was extremely shocked. Experts. Many experts. Soul condensation experts were everywhere. There were also many nascent soul experts. That person is Third Prince. At this moment, the entrance was extremely lively. Most of the people's gazes were focused on a blue-robed sword-browed youth. The young man wore a blue robe, and he had a handsome appearance. His aura was like a king, making him seem quite out of place with the people around him. Xian Yi and the others were unable to recognize this person, but Kong Miao knew him. I didn't expect that with 136 entrances, I would meet the third prince. Kong Miao smiled bitterly and shook her head before glancing at Xian Yi, who was extremely indifferent. If she hadn't encountered Xian Yi before, Kong Miao would probably have thought that the third prince with the astral spirit body deserved to be the number one person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. But after meeting Xian Yi, that person is the third prince. The third prince who was known as the number one person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. It was said that he possessed a spirit body, and his strength was terrifying. Not only was his talent terrifying, but he had also already broken through to the soul condensation realm at the age of 20.5. Once his astral spirit body appeared, his strength was equivalent to a second-level soul condensation realm expert. How terrifying! Kong Miao's 3 disciples, as well as some of the Gui family's younger generations, all eagerly looked at the blue-robed youth as if they had seen an idol. Gui Yi didn't think much. Genius, no matter how talented a genius was, how could a genius surpass her master? The number one person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom was her master, who kept a low profile and didn't care about this. Otherwise, why would the title of the number one person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom be the third prince? That had long since belonged to her master. Ao. Right at this moment, a gust of dark wind swept over. Immediately after, a huge black eagle rushed over from afar and quickly arrived above the entrance. Dark Shadow Eagle. Many people cried out in alarm, clearly recognizing this flying mount. This Dark Shadow Eagle is not inferior to Yi's Scarlet Flame Sparrow. Not being weaker, the Scarlet Flame Sparrow meant that the Dark Shadow Eagle was at least at the 7th level of the soul condensation realm. One had to know that there were only a few flying mounts, and there were even fewer powerful flying mounts. The more powerful the mounts, the higher their intelligence. The harder it was to tame them. They would rather die than become a mount for humans. Therefore, it was extremely difficult to tame an extremely powerful mount. It was extremely difficult. Ha ha ha. After traveling by several entrances, I finally found them. On top of the Dark Shadow Eagle stood 2 people. Both of them were dressed in black, a young man and a middle-aged man. The one who spoke was the black-robed youth. He stared fixedly at the third prince below with a hint of ridicule in his eyes. You are the third prince who is known as the number one person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. You don't seem that good. The originally calm third prince frowned slightly when he saw the black dot youth. Because he could sense that this person was very dangerous. In the entire Heavenly Wind Kingdom, there was not a single person among the younger generation who could cause him to feel a hint of danger. "Who are you?" the third prince said. "He's from the Heavenly Glory Kingdom, the Black Fiend School, correct?" Before the young man could say anything, a person besides the third prince spoke. This person was an expert from the Heavenly Wind Imperial City, a guard of the third prince, a nascent soul expert. Heavenly Glory Kingdom. As soon as these words were spoken, a commotion erupted in the surroundings. Although they did not know the two people on the Shadow Eagle, they were not unfamiliar with the words the Heavenly Glory Kingdom. In this region where the Heavenly Wind Kingdom is, there were 9 kingdoms. They were known as the 9 Hanging Rivers, and a river connected the 9 kingdoms, hence their name. As for the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, it was one of the 9 hanging rivers. The Heavenly Glory Kingdom was also one of them. The Heavenly Glory Kingdom and the Heavenly Wind Kingdom were adjacent to each other. It was said that 1,000 years ago, the relationship between the two countries was not bad. However, it was unknown what happened later, which caused the two countries to fall into a state of hate with each other, and a great battle broke out. In that battle, the two countries had equal strength, so the outcome was undetermined. From then on, the two countries would occasionally erupt in war. In the recent battle, 16 years ago, the Heavenly Wind Kingdom had gained the upper hand. However, it had also wasted quite a lot of money to repel the Heavenly Glory Kingdom. In the past few years, there had been constant friction between the two countries at the border, and there was a faint trend of war. As for the Black Fiend sect, it was the #1 sect in the Heavenly Glory Kingdom. Unlike the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, where the Heavenly Wind Kingdom sects respected the imperial family because they were strongest, the Heavenly Glory Kingdom was different. The strongest power in the Heavenly Glory Kingdom was not the imperial family, but the Black Fiend sect. In the Heavenly Glory Kingdom, even the imperial family of the Heavenly Glory Kingdom had to look at the Black Fiend sect for permission. The Black Fiend sect was extremely ancient in the Heavenly Glory Kingdom. To put it bluntly, in the past 1,000 years, if the Black Fiend School hadn't been involved, the Heavenly Glory Kingdom would have long been destroyed by the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Thus, the Black Fiend sect had always been a great cause of trouble for the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. "Old thing, you have good eyesight. I'm the Black Fiend School's holy son. I heard that the third prince is #1 among the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Coincidentally, I, Xiao Feng, have difficulty finding enemies in the Heavenly Glory Kingdom. I've come here today for no other purpose. I just want to spar with the third prince and see if the third prince is as invincible as the rumors say." Chapter 29. The Heavenly Wind Kingdom vs. Heaven Glory Kingdom. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 29. The Heavenly Wind Kingdom vs. Heaven Glory Kingdom. Chapter 29. The Heavenly Wind Kingdom vs. Heaven Glory Kingdom. The moment Xiao Feng's words came out, the people at the entrance to the secret realm once again erupted. The previously bustling entrance was now even more bustling. The third prince was undoubtedly the #1 among the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. The Black Fiend sect's holy son, Xiao Feng, was the #1 person in the younger generation of the Glory Kingdom. These two people represented the highest level of the younger generation in their respective kingdoms. This battle is going to be interesting. In this battle, no matter who lost, the losing party would lose face. This battle was not only a battle of strength, it was also a battle of face. Most of the people present were from the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. While they were looking forward to it, they were also slightly worried. The Black Fiend sect's holy son had come menacingly. He was prepared. Could the third prince defeat him? The third prince took a step forward and looked straight at Xiao Feng. "If you want to fight, then let's fight." Under such circumstances, in front of so many people, the third prince wouldn't retreat. "Heh, that's awesome. Don't mention that I won't give you a chance." Xiao Feng's body moved and landed on the ground. He looked at the third prince from afar. As for the surrounding people, they also tactfully moved away, leaving a large area for the two of them. 3 moves. This holy sun will give you 3 moves. If you can make me take half a step back within 3 moves, I'll concede. As soon as these words were spoken, the surrounding area exploded. Too arrogant. The third prince was the #1 person in the younger generation of our Heavenly Wind Kingdom. No one was able to compete with him, and he is also the owner of the astral spirit body. 3 moves. You're courting death. This person was looking down on the third prince. The people around him were mostly from the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. How was there any difference between looking down on the third prince and looking down on them? As for the third prince himself, his eyes grew colder and colder as well. It could be seen how furious he was. He had never been looked down on like this before. There's no need for 3 moves. I will defeat you in 1 move. A faint layer of golden astral energy appeared around the third prince. His entire body shot out. When he arrived in front of Xiao Feng, he punched out. A supreme spirit body. That's right, the third prince had used his astral spirit body from the beginning. It's rumored that the third prince's strength will be several times stronger than before under the astral spirit form. Xiao Feng, dressed in black, smiled scornfully as he looked at the incoming third prince. A strange black light instantly enveloped his body. Bang! The third prince punched out, but the situation he had imagined did not occur. Xiao Feng wasn't sent flying by this punch. Xiao Feng, who was standing on the spot, did not move at all. Impossible! The third prince cried out in shock. This attack was still his strongest attack, but he was unable to shake Xiao Feng in the slightest. How was this possible? Even an existence at the 3rd level of the soul condensation realm wouldn't be able to withstand his punch unscathed. Trash. Xiao Feng slowly spat out 2 words. These 2 words completely infuriated the third prince. Bang! Bang! 2 more punches were thrown out, but Xiao Feng still didn't move. Not to mention hurting him, he couldn't even push him back in the slightest. 3 moves have passed. Next, it's my turn. Hee hee. Xiao Feng kicked out with a strange smile. The third prince reached out to block. But boom! Crack! A terrifying force collided with the third prince's arms and the sound of bones cracking instantly rang out. The third prince's entire body shot out like a cannonball. Your Highness. Fortunately, the Imperial expert's reaction wasn't slow. In a flash, he appeared in the third prince's path and caught the bloody third prince. However, the third prince had fainted because of his heavy injuries. The third prince defeated. This scene shocked countless people. Then. But the third prince. This is the #1 person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. #1 trash. No, the so-called #1 person in the younger generation only has this bit of strength. The others are probably even more trash, so it should be a group of trash. Xiao Feng laughed savagely as he glanced around. Perhaps it was because of the black-robed middle-aged man's presence that Xiao Feng was extremely arrogant, not caring if this was the Heavenly Wind Kingdom's territory. Brat! What did you say? The furious people of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom wished they could go up and tear Xiao Feng apart. However, the black-robed old man on the Shadow Eagle made them stop thinking about it. That old man was a nascent soul expert, and it was extremely likely that he was not an ordinary nascent soul expert, but an existence above the 3rd level of nascent soul. What did you say? What I was talking about was naturally you bunch of trash from the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. This holy sun is standing here. It's still 3 moves. Within 3 moves, I won't fight back. If any of you can make me take half a step back within 3 moves, I'll turn around and leave. Xiao Feng was very arrogant. However, after defeating the third prince, who was known as the #1 person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, he was indeed qualified to be arrogant. There were people present who were able to defeat him. However, without exception, they were all experts from the older generation. None of the younger generation was a match for him. Even the third prince, who was known as the #1 person in the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, was not a match for him, let alone the others. This person is too arrogant. Gue Yi, who was beside Xian Yi, looked at Xiao Feng angrily. No matter what, she was also a member of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Xiao Feng's words had even offended her. If it wasn't for her lack of strength, Gue Yi would teach this person a lesson. That's fine. It's been a long time since I called myself one of those amongst the younger generation. I'll also be of the younger generation now. To be honest, Xian Yi didn't want to take action. He wasn't a nosy person either. Moreover, it had been a long time since Xian Yi had treated himself as one of the younger generation. His strength had already surpassed the so-called younger generation by far. Even the #1 among the younger generation of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, the third prince, was pitifully weak in front of Xian Yi. Thus, when Xian Yi saw the excitement of the younger generation, he did not want to join them. Otherwise, no one else would be able to play. However, as soon as Xiao Feng said those words, Xian Yi could no longer stay still. Xiao Feng's subsequent words were aimed at not only the third prince but all the people of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. No matter what, Xian Yi was also a member of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Xiao Feng's words naturally cursed him. Xian Yi couldn't pretend that he hadn't heard it. Since he had already scolded himself, Xian Yi naturally couldn't pretend that he hadn't heard him. With a step forward, Xian Yi looked at Xiao Feng not far away and said, "One strike." Xiao Feng had also noticed Xian Yi. After his words, Xian Yi was the only one who dared to stand up. It was difficult for Xiao Feng to not notice him. "What do you mean?" Looking at Xian Yi, Xiao Feng was puzzled. Xian Yi shook his head and smiled as he explained, "If I can't defeat you with one strike, then I, Xian Yi, am incompetent. ______________________ TL note. So halfway through TL we changed the cultivation names which you are reading from the first chapter is redo of chapters which we did even before realizing the novel. Don't worry, you don't need to read again, but if by mistake if we forget somewhere you can ping me, I love cats, on server and I will correct that. Also we changed Jinan province to Southern province. Jinan means southern, it's the same thing but southern is more English sounding which I like to keep for easy remembering, and if I forget somewhere ping me. Chapter 30. The Chosen of the Azure Ranking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 30. The Chosen of the Azure Ranking. Hahaha, Xiao Feng laughed wildly. This is the funniest joke I've heard in the past few years. One strike, to defeat me. Ever since I entered the Azure ranking, you have been the first person who dares to act so arrogantly in front of me. Should I praise you for your courage? Or should I praise you for being reckless? Today, I want to see how you defeated me. Xiao Feng's voice was cold and stern. What? The Azure ranking. Xiao Feng is a chosen on the Azure ranking. Hiss, how is that possible? How could the 9 hanging river kingdoms possibly have a chosen on the Azure ranking? Wave after wave of exclamations sounded from the surroundings. He couldn't blame the people around him for being so shocked. It was just that Xiao Feng's words, ever since I entered the Azure rankings, had caused so much shock to everyone. The Azure ranking was a list of geniuses in the entire Azure region. No one who could be ranked on the rankings was not a genius among geniuses. The Azure rankings had a total of 1,000 places. It seemed that there were quite a few, but one had to know how big the Azure region was. How many kingdoms did it contain? How many people of the younger generations? 10 billion. 100 billion. From this, it could be seen how difficult it was to enter the Azure ranking. Normally, the so-called chosen of the Azure ranking were legendary existences in the eyes of many people in the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. They had heard of them, but they had never seen them with their own eyes. Throughout the history of the 9 kingdoms, they had never heard of anyone who had entered the Azure ranking. The third prince was a genius, right? Not to mention having a spirit body, he had already broken through to the soul condensation realm at the age of 20. 5. Such talent and strength could rank high even in the 9 kingdoms. However, even he was far away from the so-called Azure ranking. The competition on the Azure rankings was extremely intense. Those who were able to enter the rankings were at least at the 7th level of the soul condensation realm. Late stage soul condensation realm. In other words, Qiao Feng was at least at the 7th level of the soul condensation realm. This was still referring to his realm, not combat strength. It could be imagined that who among the geniuses who were able to ascend the Azure rankings didn't have any battle prowess that surpassed their realm. It was completely different from the third prince's current breakthrough in the soul condensation realm. As everyone knew, the higher one's cultivation, the harder it was to fight across realms. Although the third prince, who was currently at the 1st level of the soul condensation realm, was able to fight a few second-level soul condensation realm experts, at most his combat strength was at the 3rd level of the soul condensation realm. Between the 3rd to 4th levels of the soul condensation realm was a barrier that represented the difference between the early stage and the mid stage, and between the 6th and 7th levels was also a barrier. This barrier separated the mid stage from the late stage. There was a difference between the early stage and the middle stage. After the 3rd level of the soul condensation realm, it would be extremely difficult to enter a realm-crossing battle. As for the chosen on the Azure rankings, they were still able to fight across realms at the late stages of the soul condensation realm. One could imagine how monstrous they were. Thus, even though the third prince seemed to be extremely monstrous, compared to the so-called chosen of the Azure ranking, the difference was far greater than it seemed. From this, it wasn't for the people around him to be so shocked and they learned that Qiao Feng was a chosen on the Azure ranking. No wonder Qiao Feng was so arrogant. His eyes were clear, and he didn't care about the third prince or even the people of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Although he was unwilling to admit it, he had to admit that as a chosen of the Azure ranking, he was indeed qualified to do so. It was no wonder that the third prince could not withstand a single blow before him. What a joke. The expression on Xian Yi's face didn't change at all after learning that Qiao Feng was a chosen on the Azure ranking. Buzz. He stretched out his hand, and a large hand of spiritual power instantly formed. Before Qiao Feng could react, he grabbed him in his spiritual hand. No matter how much Qiao Feng struggled, he was unable to break free. Let me ask you, is it easy to laugh? You, Qiao Feng, who was grabbed by the spiritual power hand, looked at Xian Yi in shock. What speed was this? Just now, at the same time that his spiritual power was grabbing at him, it wasn't that Qiao Feng didn't react, but rather that he had reacted. His speed was just too fast. Just as Qiao Feng was about to react, it was already too late. He could only watch as the large hand of spiritual power held him tightly. Nascent soul. You're a nascent soul expert. Qiao Feng seemed to have seen a ghost. This person in front of him was about the same age as him, and he was even younger than him. He was a nascent soul expert. How was that possible? One must know that there were only a handful of nascent soul geniuses on the Azure ranking. Could this person be one of them? No, it was impossible. Qiao Feng knew all the monsters in the top 20, and he had seen them before. Xian Yi wasn't among them. At this moment, Qiao Feng finally realized that he had kicked the iron plate. Qiao Feng suddenly remembered what his master had said. Disciple, your talent is among the top in the entire Azure region. The 961st place on the Azure ranking isn't your limit. However, you must remember that you must not be arrogant. This world is far from as simple as you think. The Azure ranking doesn't mean anything. Number 1 on the Azure ranking doesn't mean that you are number 1 in the Azure region. Not all geniuses care about those false names on the Azure rankings. When Qiao Feng heard his master's words, he didn't take them seriously. But now, after recalling his master's words, Qiao Feng realized that his master had not lied to him. Even though Xian Yi before him wasn't a chosen on the Azure ranking, it could be said that it was easy for him to enter the Azure ranking. Moreover, with his strength, if he were to compete for the Azure ranking, he would be able to enter the top 20. Even the top 10. Qiao Feng. He lost, and he only used one move. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings reacted as well. They all looked at Xian Yi, their eyes filled with shock. They were even more shocked than when Qiao Feng had defeated the third prince in one move. My heavenly wind kingdom has such a monstrous existence. Why have I never heard of this before? 20-year-old nascent soul realm, this, at this moment, the black-robed middle-aged man on the shadow eagle also reacted. He looked at Qiao Feng who was held in Xian Yi's hand like a little chick. A terrifying pressure instantly swept out. Brat! Let him go. The terrifying aura caused the hearts of many people around them to tremble slightly. Nascent Soul Realm 5th level. No, it's not the 5th level of the Nascent Soul Realm. But it's about the same. The black-robed man was a peak 4th layer Nascent Soul Realm expert with half a step into the 5th layer. At the peak of the 4th level of Nascent Soul Realm, experts of this level were among the top experts within the entire Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Previously, they had guessed that the black-robed middle-aged man wasn't simple, but they hadn't expected him to be a peak 4th level Nascent Soul Realm expert. Most of the experts present were only at the 1st and 2nd levels of the Nascent Soul Realm. There was only one person in the 3rd level of the Nascent Soul Realm, the Imperial Elder behind the 3rd Prince. Although the black-clothed middle-aged man was only one person, if they fought, even all the Nascent Soul Realm experts present were far from his match. At the peak of the 4th level of Nascent Soul Realm, even among the 10 great sects of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, he would be considered as a Grand Elder. An existence of this level was arranged by Qiao Feng's side to protect him. It could be seen how much the Black Fiend School valued Qiao Feng. Are you threatening me? Xian Yi raised his eyebrows and looked at the black-clothed middle-aged man. Originally, Xian Yi didn't want to kill Qiao Feng. He only wanted to teach him a lesson because he was too arrogant. But now, Xian Yi had changed his mind. How dare you touch him? I will slaughter your entire clan. As soon as the black-robed middle-aged man finished speaking, Xian Yi crushed Qiao Feng in his spiritual power hand. I hate people threatening me the most. I'll kill you, who are you? As soon as he finished speaking, Xian Yi grabbed at the air and a spiritual sword was instantly held in his hand. He slashed at the black-robed middle-aged man on the shadow eagle. The sword attack that was surrounded by the vast sword intent transformed into a streak of light that slashed towards the black-robed middle-aged man. Sword intent. This is sword intent. It's not the embryonic form of sword intent. This is the true sword intent. Just who is this white-robed youth? The black-clothed middle-aged man was also startled by Xian Yi's vast sword strike. He naturally recognized the sword intent, and the aura that Xian Yi emanated when he slashed out that sword allowed him to see Xian Yi's cultivation. Nascent Soul Realm 3rd level. The black-clothed middle-aged man's heart sank. If it was only the 3rd level Nascent Soul Realm, he wouldn't be afraid. After all, he was a true peak 4th level Nascent Soul Realm expert. He was only a step away from the 5th level. However, a 3rd level Nascent Soul Realm expert that had comprehended sword intent was something that he couldn't ignore. Although he wasn't a sword cultivator, he knew how terrifying sword intent was. Moreover, within the boundless sword radiance that assaulted him, he felt the intent of death. This meant that this sword was already enough to threaten him. Lightning sound palm. The black-clothed middle-aged man couldn't be bothered to be shocked. He suddenly threw out a palm, intending to scatter the sword light that Xian Yi slashed out. Boom! Originally, they had thought that this would be a close fight, but the next scene caused everyone, including the black-robed middle-aged man, to realize that they were thinking too much. The vast and mighty sword aura was as if it could easily tear apart the black-clothed middle-aged man's lightning sound palm. It slashed down at the black-clothed middle-aged man. The black-clothed middle-aged man with a stunned expression could only watch helplessly as the terrifying sword slashed towards him. That palm strike earlier was already his strongest martial technique. He had used this technique to defeat countless experts at the same level. He originally thought that once this palm was released, even if it wouldn't be enough to defeat Xian Yi, it would at least be able to fight to a draw, right? However, reality proved that he had overestimated himself. At the same time, he had underestimated the terrifying power of a sword cultivator who had comprehended sword intent. The sword light covered the black-clothed middle-aged man and hacked into the sky. Only after a long distance did it slowly dissipate. At the same time, the black-robed middle-aged man, Gulu, an elder at the nascent soul realm level, couldn't help but swallow. The shock in his heart was indescribable. Facing the chosen of the Azure ranking, Xiao Feng, he only used one strike. Facing the black-robed old man at the peak of the fourth layer of nascent soul realm, the Black Fiend school expert still only used one strike. Boom! Just as everyone was in shock, an enormous sound rang out from the entrance to the secret realm. The secret realm opened. The secret realm has opened. Let's go. As the entrance to the secret realm opened, countless people swarmed in. In just a few breaths' time, all the previously overcrowded entrances from number 1 to number 136 had already lost more than half its people. Let's go in too. The sword in Xian Yi's hand dissipated. After giving Gue Yi a warning, he transformed into a streak of light and charged into the entrance of the secret realm. Because regardless of whether they entered at the same time or not, they would be randomly teleported to various locations within the secret realm, so there was no need to enter with Gue Yi and the others. In any case, after entering, they would be randomly teleported away. The probability of being teleported to the same location was pitifully low, almost negligible.